I was told that tonight it was going to be a coffee house. I didn't realize it was going to be a library with 30 kids under this tall when I first got here. I'm glad that the good parents took those kids home and we left the bad parents who were a lot of fun. Let's finish up the night. Anybody here alive in the 1970s? Like I was? Thank you. Yeah, wasn't TV programming back then just the best? No? See, I thought it was. See, because you pretty much had like 3 networks, and everybody had to watch it. So like the next day, everybody would be sitting there going, "Did you see that? You know? Did you see what happened on Gilligan's Island last night?" Yeah, they didn't get off. Nobody got off the island. You know, and it was also amazing, like, the women on the island, you notice, they never complained about their peril or the plight that they were put in. These 2 idiots beached it on an island, 3 hours off of the LA coast, and the US Navy couldn't find them. There was a movie star there, there was a millionaire, you know. There was a Kardashian and Donald Trump on that boat, and the press and the Navy couldn't find them. Riveting TV. You know, you also had Charlie's Angels back then, which taught girls that you can train, you can work really hard, you can study really hard, and you're going to end up taking instructions on chasing murderers from a speakerphone. Show of hands, ladies. Is there any ladies out here who would take their orders from a speakerphone today? I can only imagine what the interview process was, right? You know? The job pays this, but you've got to be really hot. I mean, could you imagine if, like, you know, there any parents in the audience tonight?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Could you imagine if, like, you know, your child was abducted, but your husband kind of said, "Well, we really need to get the child back. We love our child, but we got to make sure that Farrah Fawcett's the one in hot pursuit of the kidnappers. Got to make sure that they get back." You know, and they're also thrown out of a police precinct. Like there will be cops trying to get those 3 kicked out of the force. You know, really, you know. The other thing growing up, and I know that because they've redone it because it was such great theater with Scooby-Doo, right? Because I know that the table back there, the little kids, I know they've seen it, right? And you got to kind of wonder of like what they were thinking when they actually invented this show, right? Because you have 5 kids who travel in a van with a dog, and they solve mysteries of why no one is hanging around an abandoned mine. Yeah, let's take that for a minute. You know, or an abandoned carnival, right? I just wonder why no one was at the abandoned carnival anymore. You know. And you had Freddie, who would kind of go off, you know, I mean, you'd think that he would be having, you know, what we might say, dates with Daphne, you know, while Velma was the only one with any brains who had the clues, you know. And you always kind of wondered why Shaggy and Scooby always were hungry. Yes, people of a certain age understand why Shaggy was always hungry. Say, Scoob, there's food and scary things, you know. I mean, kind of makes you wonder. But it also makes you wonder, like, what were their parents saying about them, you know? Well, Estelle, my Irving, he's gone to Harvard, he's a doctor, and he's a doctor without borders, and he's saving lives everywhere. Well, my son is traveling the country, God only knows where, and solving murders, and solving mysteries. The only mysteries you wonder, like, how the heck did these 5 kids hook up? You know, what was the bonding force that got them together? No one really knows. But you know, you had to figure that at some point that van of theirs had to stink really, really bad. Because even the old guy, because there was always an old guy like, "I ain't got nowhere with it if it wasn't for your damn kids," you know. Even he didn't take their van to get away. You know, the van was always there. But speaking of old people, I was just in Florida, and South Florida to be exact, And it was interesting because my wife and I, we had to drive around, we had to like get places to see people. And it's kind of interesting how like the people we kept running into were very old. And it was like this one pattern of like in the morning, the man's wife would find things for him to do, and he would spend the rest of the day running around the house that they bought for their retirement trying to hide from her. And it was amazing, because I didn't understand Fox News before this, right? But now Fox News makes perfect sense to me. It's watched by old retired guys who are like, she hates it. She'll never want to watch it with me. You're a lifelong Democrat and you're watching Fox News. Okay. Yay for retirement. But the other thing was that we had to actually go and get gas and things. We had to like go from one city to another city. And along the way, it would be like 3 or 4 hour drive. And be like, we had to stop for lunch. And the interesting thing is that on my phone, I have an old phone with a blown out speaker. So when I get Siri's instructions, Siri kind of sounds like this. In 2 miles, you'll have to get off the highway. Make a right turn onto, But the thing is, my wife would want lunch. And so she would program her GPS with a British woman's accent, which was interesting because it was like, in 1,000 feet, turn right onto Whittingham Road. Now, here's the thing. We would get off the road, and now we would have competing women's voices telling me what to do while I'm driving. But it gets better because now I have a third voice telling me which voice of a person that doesn't exist to pay attention to and which one to ignore. Get back on the road. No, honey, don't do that. No. Follow the English broad. Yeah. So, Florida was all sorts of weird like that. Anyway, since they said we can only do 2 songs, and I'm not gonna torture you with that, I'll do my 5 minutes, and thank you very much. My name is George. Thanks.